last video, we covered the major bones of the body. Now, let's talk about the articulation or meeting of these bones at joints. We can classify joints by the stuff that holds the bones together. This is our structural classification, giving us fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial joints. We can also classify joints functionally by how movable they are or by how many planes of motion they have, uniaxial, biaxial, or multiaxial. If we focus now on our synovial joints as our structural group, we can divide that further based on their shape. So we have a pivot joint that allows for rotational movement. This is like in your neck, for example. You have a hinge joint like your elbow that creates that uniaxial motion. The plane joint in between the carpals of your hands allows for a sliding and gliding motion. The two that are most often mixed up are our saddle and our condylar joints. Both are biaxial, but the saddle joint of your thumb allows for a more motion than the condylar joint of your finger. Saddle, condylar. The saddle joint is what gets you closer to a full 360 degrees. The most motion is in the multiaxial ball and socket joint. This you can see in the shoulder and in the hip. If we put the joints into motion, we see the major actions of our body. Flexion and extension is movement in this plane, decreasing and increasing the angle of the joint respectively. Abduction and adduction are in our horizontal plane, on the other hand, with abduction with a B moving your limb away from your body and adduction with a D bringing it back. For supination and pronation, we're only looking at our forearm here. And you want to remember it with a kind of silly metaphor of holding soup. So if you're holding soup in your hands, your arms are in the supination position. And if you pour the soup out, you move to a pronation. So supination, hold the soup, pronation, pour it out. Dorsiflexion and plantarflexion are the movements only for your foot. So dorsiflexion, we're flexing our foot. Plantar with a P, we're pointing our toes. So in this video, we covered the joints of the body and then talked about the movement with those joints. So take a few minutes and act out those movements yourself. See if they make sense.